welcome to Charter Communications Program Local Edition, featuring interviews with leaders from state government, particularly the state legislature. We're broadcasting from the third day of the 2015 session. The honeymoon is still in effect, and I have with me one of the honeymooners, Senator Eric Moore from Miles City, but your Senate district, we were just talking, encompasses a little bigger than Miles City. Tell me exactly what it is.
Oh, it takes in the whole southeast corner of the state and goes all the way up to Fort Peck. So it's the largest geographical Senate district in the state. It's bigger than the state of Massachusetts.
Oh my word! And did you cover the whole thing when you were campaigning?
We did. Yep. We hit most of it. We put on a lot of miles.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on and so via your victory, and now you're up here for your third session. And you've already risen to Senate Pro Tem, President Pro Tem.
That's correct.
What is that?
The Senate President Pro Tem is, for lack of a better word, the Vice President of the Senate. Okay. There's really nothing in statute or the Constitution that specifies the rules of the Pro Tem, except that he will take office in effect that the president cannot serve. So it's kind of like any other vice presidential spot. It's what you make of it. But
you are in leadership.
We are in leadership. I'm on the leadership team, myself the president and the majority leader, and I've worked very closely with President Barrett so far, and she's been gracious enough to include me as an integral part of the leadership team. And we work as a team, and we've divvied up the duties and responsibilities, and we're working very well together.
So let's dive in. We have a short interview. I'd like to cover a lot of subjects. Mm-hmm. The governor's proposed a budget. He proposes, the legislature disposes. How's it looking? The original budget that he's given you to work with, what do you think of it?
Mm-hmm. Well, the Republicans often get accused of being anti-government.
Party of no.
The party of no, anti-government.
Right.
Republicans actually are the party of disciplined government and focused government. And I don't hear that word enough, focused. We Republicans believe that government should do only the things that it can do. And it should do them very well. Roads, bridges, water, sewer, prisons. We should fund those things adequately, and we should be accountable to the taxpayer. When we try to do all things to all people, the old saying, jack of all trades and master of none, we lose our efficacy, we spend too much money, and we don't do as good a job on the things we should be doing. So with that in mind, we think that the governor's budget is awfully big. I mean, to dumb it down to the lowest common denominator in that response, it is a great big budget. It's about a 8 to 14% increase, depending on how you look at the numbers. We're looking at almost $500 million in bonding for what we're doing with oil.
Which is also called borrowing.
Which is also called borrowing. With oil patch revenues on the decline, we've all seen what's happened to the price of crude in the last 30 days. We think it's a pretty ambitious budget for where we are. And that's not to say there's no common ground. I think we share the governor's desire to provide some infrastructure relief. I'm from Eastern Montana. I well remember the veto last session of the Eastern Montana infrastructure bill. We know we need infrastructure. That's one of the things government should be doing, and we should focus on that.
And one of the issues inside that issue is borrowing, because the money is at low percentage rates versus spending cash, and the governor has now proposed, as opposed to last time, which was all cash, and he was wanting it to be all borrowed, and this time he's proposed a blend of cash and bonding. Have I got that right?
I think so. I think so. And there's going to be some common ground there. We're still working through the numbers. Finance and Claims in the Senate just got organized this morning. We'll start meeting in our subcommittees tomorrow. We've got a lot of work to do. I wouldn't say that Republicans are going to draw a line in the sand and say absolutely no bonding this session. I think we're going to look at perhaps some bonding. I don't think to the degree the governor is looking at. We're going to look at short-term bonding so that we ourselves are going to pay for it. We're not asking our children to pay for things that we think we want right now. But one concern that I have with some of the rhetoric we've heard out of the governor's office and the Democrat caucus is that, well, we're making 17 to 18% return on our money, but we can bond at 2 or 3%. That's comparing apples to oranges. The long-term bonds in the state retirement pensions generated that last year because we had a bull stock market year. The Dow's over 18,000. But the short term, the cash surplus, the ending fund balance earns 0.14%. So to say that we can borrow money and still make money is not entirely accurate. If that was the case, there wouldn't be such thing as banks in this world.
One of the proposals in the budget is for preschool 4-year-olds to go, and the governor believes that it would be a very solid investment because those students perform better in the long run, studies show. And it's going to come as a series of grants to communities, and it's completely voluntary. And from what I read the Republicans are a little dubious about that. Is that correct?
We are a little dubious about that. Three main reasons. Number one, the Head Start data nationwide shows that any advantage that preschool enrolled children have upon entering kindergarten through grade 3 is virtually gone by grade 4. That's what the data shows. Number two, the contingencies that the governor's plan would have to give the money to private preschools, if they would so choose, had no legislative oversight, came directly through the Board of Public Ed. The conditions,
okay.
Yeah, the conditions. The hoops they have to jump through if they want to get the $6,000 per child. It's not an actual follow the child in effect because no private preschool can afford to have accredited 2-year aides and helpers, which are basically just there to help the little ones to the bathroom, and USDA approved snacks and fully accredited teachers, and on and on and on. There's so many hoops to jump through that no private preschool is going to be able to afford it. So it's a government-only preschool. Third problem, and I'll finish on the second point, it's a government-only preschool that is in effect going to run, I'm concerned, the private preschools out of business. The private preschools that have been there for years and years providing a great service, people who want to take advantage of it, I don't think they're going to be there, and I don't think that's what government should be doing, muscling out private industry. Number three is, at least in my district, I met with my school administrators, and I've met with school board members, and I met with teachers. And the people out on the ground doing the work in the public school sector that I've talked to don't want this. Now, that's not what I'm hearing from their trade associations in Helena, but as we all know, the world between Helena and back home is not always synonymous. So
quite a few miles, actually.
We've got some concerns with the governor's preschool program.
Speaking of those miles, when you leave here in 90 days, because I hate to say this, but we're going to have to wrap up. It goes so fast. When you leave here in 90 days and head right back to the biggest Senate district possibly in America, what do you hope to have accomplished?
Well, we hope to look back on this session. The Republicans just unveiled our 4-point plan on the opening day of the session, and that includes strengthening jobs in the economy, putting students and parents first, protecting health care options, and protecting individual and constitutional freedoms. As in the weeks to come, we'll roll out a series of legislations that addresses all 4 of those key 4 bullet points, and we hope to look back on the session having made significant progress working with the governor and the other party in those 4 areas that Montana sent us here to work on.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for serving. Thanks for stopping by and visiting with us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And thank you for tuning in.